Welcome back, ladies and gents, to And Here We Are podcast, episode 8. Episode 8. We're going to talk about family ties, not the show.
Oh,
that was a
that
great
was my show.
That was a great show.
That was my
Family
show.
Ties. But more like, the family ties that bind, the things that keep families together, the things that can break families apart. So,
Ooh.
what makes what makes up a family unit?
What do you mean? Like
what are the components?
Family can be anything you make it, though.
Okay.
It doesn't necessarily have to, if you say what typically, what does it look like? But there's no typical.
What does it look like? Right.
But there's no typical. A family is just a group of people who love each other, who don't necessarily have to be blood, but it could be, a blended family. It could be an adoptive family.
True.
It could be, any number of things that you consider to be a family. I don't, but in that you have hurdles. I think with any family unit, you're going to have hurdles that you have to overcome, because you're always going to have people who think different. True. And it's probably added pressure, for instance, with maybe an adoption or blending a family as opposed to quote unquote traditional family. But I feel like traditional families have their fair share of stuff as well too.
Issues as well,
So we can't really go by that, but we're gonna talk about what the different types of what the ins and outs, the intricacies of things, how we navigate different ones or our experience with different ones.
We're talking about back in the day, we'll say, we use that terminology. There weren't a lot of single families or single parent families. Coming up, if you had a friend who was from a single family, it was usually stated, their parents are separated or they're going through a divorce. There wasn't a lot of what that is now. Today, men and women are just single and doing it on their own, for various reasons. So there's a lot more of that now. So the family structure and the family unit has kind of shifted. It's kind of morphed into more of what the world looks like. So now a blended family, like you said, it could be through marriage, it could be through adoption. Now you've experienced blended families. Now how did that work? Well, let's not get to that point. We'll get to that. How do you start off blending a family? Like, do you like have the kids meet? Is it something that how do you get that going?
Yeah, so I think blending a family is hard because you already have your structure of what your life used to look like prior to you meeting a significant other, and then your significant other bringing their children in.
Okay.
So it was, I know for us, it was like, okay, let's meet out and just do something like with the kids, like kind of go someplace.
Okay.
And get an introduction that way. And then it was, I think, I had his dog at my house. So when it was his parenting time, he came with them to pick up the dog, and it was like, I want to introduce you, to my girlfriend.
How did that work?
Like, what do you mean? Like, it was just like, hey.
How did that work?
I mean, but you have this, like, the kids weren't foreign to me. Like, I seen pictures and, heard stories about them and stuff. And then it was, oh, nice to meet you, And then, oh, you're the person who's looking after my dog. Like, yeah, and I have a dog. So then it was like, okay. And then you just kind of start bringing them around. You start going out to dinners and you start going out to places together where they can play and interact on that level, where you're just not sitting at your house or my house, because then you're in it's like when you introduce, I won't say like you introduce dogs, like you don't do it on each of their territory. You're not supposed, you're supposed to do it on neutral ground.
Right.
So it's like you kind of do it on neutral ground. Right. And then before you know it, you're blending the family. Then you're getting married, and then you got a stepmom and you got a stepdad and you got kids and you got, stepkids, or whatever you want to call them, bonus kids, or however you want to you view them. I've always just viewed them as an
yours
extension.
Too,
like an extension of me, because whatever those kids, like whatever my kids got, the other ones got.
Right.
So if I, for instance, had to run out and get something like, I don't know, somebody needed a red shirt for school, like a whatever.
Everybody got red shirts?
Everybody got it. When I'm going in the Old Navy, I'm picking up, you don't necessarily need it, but not necessarily a red shirt, but I don't want to come back empty-handed for just one child.
Right.
And there's, at this point now, it's more kids in the house, than just that one. So everybody getting a shirt. It may not be a red shirt, but everyone's getting something from the store. Something for you, something for you, something for you, and something for you.
So do you think it's important to like set up boundaries between the two mixed households, or just in general, like, because your kids have their way of interacting with you, and now they have to interact with this other person, your new partner, so it's like, okay, do you set boundaries this way from down up, as in, okay, now I'm just going to give kids random names. Okay, Pete and Johnny, this is my new partner, and you need to respect him. These are the boundaries you stand with this. But also, all right, my new partner, don't be telling my kid this and that. I mean, I don't know how to.
Yeah.
I'm asking you.
It's variables, I feel like. Are you coming in, how old are the kids? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you coming in to a household where a stepdad is coming in and the boys are 16, 17 years old, 18 years old, that's a rough kind of you telling me what to do type of thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or if you coming in, you met the mom and the kid's 6 months old. You're raising that. You know what I'm saying? You're raising that kid, basically. The kid doesn't know.
Right.
It's going to start to grow up with you. There are a lot of variables, but I think at the commonality in all of that is just a respect. You can't tell your partner, you can't discipline my kids. If I'm helping to put a roof over their heads, if I'm helping provide for them, if I'm giving them, and they're here with me 50% of the time because they're with you 50% of the time, and I'm their mother figure, not their mother, their mother figure during that time, don't tell me I can't discipline them. Now, for me, it was never a physical discipline because I didn't want someone else physically reprimanding my children.
Right.
I would leave that to, listen, if you feel like a physical reprimand has to happen, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to let you handle that. But a verbal reprimand, especially if we out doing something, don't do that because you're going to get hurt. I'm not going to let you do it. And then obviously, I ain't straight, you should have known. No, I'm going to give you the same direction that I would give my own kids. And probably I give you more leeway because if my own kids were doing something, I might snatch them up. I'm not going to physically roughhouse you. I'm like, listen, you're going to get a verbal cue.
Right.
And then if you're disrespectful about it, I'm going to let your dad know because then if there's any type of physical, then I'm going to let them handle that. So I didn't believe in physically, disciplining someone's kids.
Oh, someone else's kid.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you
yeah.
mentioned, these kids are with you 50% of the time because they're with the partner 50% of the time. And of course, it works the other way too. If your kids, if your partner was the one coming into the you being the 50% issue.
Yeah.
So your partner's other 50%.
Yeah.
How does the relationship that your partner has with the other 50% affect the blending of the family?
The co-parent.
Right. So how does that affect, if at all?
It does.
Okay.
It directly affects it. The best thing that you ever gonna do when you're trying to blend a family is hope that you have that partner that you have has a very healthy co-parenting relationship. That's the best. Because then you understand and they understand and we all understand it's not about how you feel, what happened in the past. It's not about, none of that takes precedence and none of that dictates or should overshadow the emotional, mental, physical well-being of the kid. The kid comes first. Regardless if I don't like you, we're not together for a reason. But we created this child together, and that child should benefit from, if we can't be together and be in a happy environment with that child, then we have to at least co-parent in a happy environment. That's why you leave, because I'm happy here, I'm happy there. Let the child grow up in two separate happy households, but let them see you, be healthy in that co-parenting relationship.
Right.
So it directly impacts it.
So you think that the co-parents should be on the same page? Like, I know that you have great relationship with your co-parents. So I know that if your kids were somewhere else, that they would govern themselves accordingly.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what if the relationship was not great with the co-parent? So what if you had a bad relationship with your ex co-parent? How do you think that would affect those kids coming into a new situation with other kids?
If you got a co-parent that's telling the kid, that's not your mother, that's not your father, you don't have to listen to them, that kid gonna act out. If I try to tell someone, don't do that, you're not my mother. During these next 3 days or 2 days,
right?
If you under this roof,
before you get the words out,
yeah, you know what I mean. Like, you're not my mother. I don't have to listen to you. Okay, so you can go back to your mother.
What do you think has to happen if that happens in this scenario?
That has happened to me, and I was like, I was like, what you mean? You don't have, like, you out with me right now? What do you mean you don't have to listen to me?
What do you think should happen in the scenario where that happens?
Oh, my thing was, whenever you're not my mother, I don't have to listen to you. I said, you want me to drop you off back with your mother? Because you don't have to be here if you're not going to listen to me.
Okay.
That's your option. And then I let the dad know.
Oh, you let the dad know. Okay.
Yeah,
and then what
this was said. But the good thing about that, and I remember that when it happened, the older sister corrected him.
Oh, okay.
His older sister, his biological, was like,
yeah,
you absolutely have to listen to her, because she's watching. Yes, you have. If you can't, like, she went in. And I was like, thank you.
But I think, he probably was trying to assert
some independence. Now, whether or not that was something that he had heard, I'm not sure.
Did you have a problem after that, or was that it?
That was it. That was it.
Got his mind right?
Yeah, that was it. It was no more, no less after that. And it was just like, okay, but the way that she defended me and checked him and was like, you absolutely have to listen. Like, you better fall in line. Like, you absolutely have to listen to her. And I would hope that, my kids would never have said that to somebody. Now, the flip side of that is, if you have a co-parent who treats your children differently, then they treat their other kids. Now, in that situation, I don't believe in that, because why agree to be a co-parent if you're not going to love and nurture and care for that child the same way you care for your own biological?
Right.
I'm not going to distinguish between the two. Like I said, one person reads a shirt, you all getting a shirt. One person get an outfit, you all getting an outfit. I don't care if you need it or not.
Right.
Everyone getting it. So I just think that a healthy co-parenting relationship definitely helps with blending a family.
Yeah.
Respect. Definitely helps with blending a family.
And boundaries.
Boundaries definitely help with blending a family.
I think you had a story about blending family.
Hold on, I do. This was a story from Reddit. It says, I've been married to my wife for 8 years, and on a whole, we have a good relationship. She has 4 kids, 2 daughters and 2 sons, ages 11 through 16, from a previous relationship. And I have 1 son who's 10. Since day one, I've treated her kids as my own, which you should, and done my best to support the family. Financially, it's a big load, but I'm happy to do it. We live together in a 5-bedroom house where each of the daughters has their own room. Her oldest son has his own, and her youngest son has to share a room with my son.
Okay.
The main issue, and what's tearing me apart, is how she treats my son. She barely acknowledges him, rarely asks how he's doing, and generally acts like he's invisible. Tonight, it hit a breaking point. We were celebrating her daughter's 11th birthday, and everyone was gathered to sing and take pictures. I told my son to get with the group for a picture, which seemed fine. But then, right after the group photo, my wife looked at my son and told him, "Get out of the picture, move to the side. I want one with just my kids."
What's that emoji that goes like this? Yeah.
And that's where the tables get flipped over.
Yeah, that's how long have they been married? You said 8 years?
8 years. So they've been married for 8 years. His son was 10. So she came into the life since he was 2.
So she been treating him shady for a long time. Yeah.
That's something where you was gonna have to, you know what? If you can't treat my son the way that you're gonna treat your kids, but I wouldn't have said it that way if you just wanted a picture, just quote unquote, with your kids.
But why? We're not dating. We're now a family.
Yes,
and this is just your kid too. And you could tell people when you send a picture.
Yep.
My 4 and little Joshua.
Yeah, but it's just at that point there is no more your kid, my kid. It's our kids. Like if you felt like you wanted, for whatever reason, you felt like you wanted that picture with just your kids,
you should have.
You better
waited
do that
until
shit to when he went to some place, left the room real quick. Let's get we're gonna get all of these right here, or do it, whatever. How many times do you have that? Like the 10-year-old, he might be with his mom, and if the kids are there, just let's take this picture, whatever. But I feel bad for the kid because you feel like you being left out. Now, if I was husband,
she did it out, weren't they at some kind of
no, they were. I think at home taking photos. She told him to move out the picture. She wanted it to
were
just
at the
be
house? I thought,
in a group photo.
I thought I read that they were out somewhere.
No, we were celebrating her daughter's birthday, and everyone was gathered to sing and take pictures. It didn't say
everyone
that
was gathered.
I'm thinking in the house. Yeah, but I'm thinking like, could be.
But I'm saying like people were over. People were over.
Yeah. So I took it as maybe it was because it's such a big family. They was just doing something in the house. But either way, they kicked the 10-year-old out.
Yeah, that's
like that.
That's
yeah, I don't. Do I agree with that? No. Do I condone that? No. Once you marry, now you're married to somebody, and you're extending your heart and your life and your love to another child. I would never want to make a child feel unwelcomed.
Right.
Yeah. So.
And he didn't advocate for his son.
I don't know what he advocated. I don't know. In 8 years.
Right. There's been more than one instance.
That's your breaking point now. Like there has to be. And to me, when you show me that, I would never feel safe leaving my child around you. That's a whole other accident. Oh, something happened. What accident happened? Why weren't you watching them? Because I was watching my kids. I wouldn't even feel safe leaving my child if someone said that I just want a picture with just my kids. Well, guess what?
No more pictures for anybody.
You wouldn't have this 5-bedroom house financially if I'm not taking care of it so that your daughters can have their own rooms.
So do you think that did you experience any sibling rivalry between like the blendeds?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes they didn't all get along. It's just, it's just kids. The nature. It's kids. Okay. Like, it was a 3-bedroom ranch house with 1, 2, 3, 4, what? With Kyla's it was 3 bedrooms. So it was 2 boys, 2 girls, and then us. And then the crib was in our room, like after me it was born. So the girls, we had bunk beds. Like, it was like the Brady Bunch, but it was 2 dogs, 2 girls, 2 boys that came, and then me. And so the girls had their bunk bed in their room, the boys had a bunk bed in their room, me was in our room. It was crowded sometimes. So yes, I always say the Brady Bunch was, they made blended families look easy. Mm-hmm. Everybody, all the blonde haired girls like their mother, and all the boys look like their dad. You want to know why the Brady Bunch, they didn't have any type of blended family issues?
Why?
Because their damn spouses were dead. That's what it was.
And they
like
never
they had
talked about that.
I think it was.
No.
It was.
You just thought that Mike and Carol had a lot of kids. You didn't know that they weren't really.
Yeah, but you listen to the song. He's right.
Right.
Three boys was on.
Right.
They were blah, like mother, blah, blah, blah. But literally, the dad, I think, from Carol's, I think she was a widow, and Mike, I believe, was a widower. You got no opposition because your ops are dead at that point. They had no opposition. So, yeah, you can happily blend that family with the dog and Alice easily. So, yeah, but co-parenting is tough.
So do you think that, like, if you have a partner and there's a co-parent, how much do you think that your current partner worries or is worried or has to be worried about the other parent?
What do you mean? Like reconnecting
Like your
again?
parent, your co-parent,
Yeah.
your other 50%,
Yeah.
is your partner worried about the other 50%?
Like I'm saying, like worried how? Like reconnection or like is it
Whatever.
like
The question was like, why would they be worried? Like,
yeah,
is there?
I don't know. Like but depends on what you're worried about. If it's a bad co-parenting relationship, is my current partner worried that if he get out of place that he gonna have to like, you know what I'm saying?
Do
He
some
might have,
fisticuffs?
yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna have to get because he being disrespectful. Or is my current partner worried that because we are so chummy and you see us taking pictures and stuff that it could be a
That could be an
rekindle.
issue too, yeah.
You know what I mean? But no, it's a healthy co-parenting relationship.
Yeah.
But in a man's minds, in a
They think,
mind
yeah.
of a man is always, I feel like they feel like once I hit that, I know I could. So maybe they think and transpose that to, he probably thinks that once because he had it, he probably could. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I don't know. But that's the insecurity that you have to deal with.
True.
Because over here, we're going to have healthy co-parenting relationships.
Right.
It wasn't always that way with the first one, but it got to that. And like I said, now we besties. You call, what's up? You know? And I wish that for people who don't have healthy co-parenting relationships and you never got to experience that, that's terrible. But for people who have matured enough, who have come full circle to have a healthy co-parenting relationship, it's the best thing that you can have, not only for your sake and your mental health as parents, but for the mental health of your children.
Absolutely. Your
So-
kids, and your kids don't understand because they know the family unit from the beginning, especially if you're dealing with, like, your daughter.
Yeah.
I don't know this to be true, but maybe she wanted you guys to not be together.
Yeah. There could,
Or she
listen.
might have been not old enough to, the kids want to see the parents together, but you like, yeah, no.
Yeah, but that
That's
also
not-
is, you have to be honest with your kids.
Right.
They might be too young to understand that, so you have to put it in a way of, mommy, daddy doesn't get along, and then, we're going to separate, but doesn't mean that we don't love you. We're going to do our best, like that type of stuff. Don't get in the kid's ear and be like, the mother or the father, because you're a bitter baby mama, you're a bitter baby daddy because things didn't work out. Don't get in the kid's ear trying to turn the kid against the other parent.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I have always said this, and I will stand on this too. I love my children more than I despised or didn't like their father. My love for them came first. Not we not getting along, so now I just want to make your life a living hell to get back at you. No, because why would I've never sacrificed my kids' emotional, mental, physical well-being because of what? Because we not getting along? No. If at some point I laid down with you and I created these kids, I would have had to love you or care for you in some capacity enough to do that. So why do I hate you so much now? I'm not going to allow that the hate to fester and impact the kids. And if people understand it's bigger than it has more to do with you, it has everything to do with the kids, I think there will be a lot more relationships that will have healthy co-parenting relationships. Some people never going to get in that page, and some people get on that page, or some people get on the page too late. So, the damage is already done.
Right.
But that's it.
Now, final question. Would you prefer to have a partner or that had kids or didn't have kids?
I don't mind a partner that has kids, because at this age,
Most people
you're
have
really
kids.
gonna have kids. And kids might be older at that
Right.
point, but again, it goes back to what is the co-parenting relationship. I would prefer to have a partner who has a healthy co-parenting relationship, because that just makes it easier for everybody involved.
But just from an interaction perspective, maybe it doesn't matter. Would you prefer the kids to be older, younger, or if you had
doesn't
your
matter.
druthers, not at all? It doesn't matter.
No, I don't mind you having kids, but I would like you to have a healthy co-parenting relationship. That's it.
Okay.
Age-wise, it doesn't matter. Deirdre love the kids.
She does, but
I love the
he shouldn't
kids.
have no kids under a certain age, because I don't know what kind of healthy or unhealthy.
Well, also, yeah, let me rephrase that. Because if you coming to me and I'm meeting you, you be like, yeah, I got a 1-month-old. No, thank you. You just, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
No, absolutely not, sir. I have a 6-month-old. So you doing the math, 9 plus 6, that's 15. Like, what happened in that
Right.
time frame?
I say under a year.
You know what I mean?
I'm gonna need to do some more delving, some more
So,
investigation.
it's that little bit of that age limit could just mean, y'all not really in it. Y'all might just be in a falling out stage, or y'all might be getting back. I'm not sure.
Right.
But 2 under, if you like, listen, we really is nothing really happening, and then there's a really healthy
Right.
co-parenting relationship. Oh, okay, cool. But the age doesn't matter, but not a newborn, because that's fresh. Like, like you still got stuff to figure out over there. No,
Right.
I'm good with that.
Okay.
But that's
okay,
it.
That sounds good. Yeah, I think that is.
That's it. That's all. That's it.
That's
Summing
it,
that
that's
up.
all.
And so yeah, so we're gonna end this. So hopefully, if you have had any experiences with parenting, co-parenting, blending families, what was your experience with blending a family? How did it turn out for you? Let us know in the comments.
Want to date a guy with kids?
Or you want to date a woman with kids?
Right.
Any of that type of stuff. I really wouldn't matter. I just want it to be healthy.
Right.
Healthy co-parenting relationship and respectful co-parenting relationship. So it just makes it ease. It's just an ease, and it doesn't put a strain on your relationship.
Right.
So
I agree.
with that, you all know it's not about the destination,
It's about the journey.
and no matter where you are,
It's exactly where you're supposed to be.
and here we are. So we'll see you on the next episode. But don't forget to like
Like, subscribe,
and comment
share.
and share. Appreciate y'all.
See you next time.